Say hi.
Hello.
Off now.
You know your question, you understand it, and just say it.
Don't feel intimidated. This is your chance to ask me questions, and hopefully I can share a little bit of my wisdom with you.
Hello, my name is Bishta. You have been working in the hotel industry for about 30 years now. Can you tell us how it all started?
So long ago, I forgot. I said, well, what I really don't want to do, I don't want to sit behind the desk in the same town for the next 30 or 40 years.
What do you feel distinguishes this hotel, Burj Al Arab, from other hotels that you have seen during your travels?
Very good. There's really 4 reasons why the Burj Al Arab is the Burj Al Arab. The first reason is the location.
My name is Amir. How does the fact that you're managing one of the most luxurious hotels in Dubai add pressure to the job, and how do you deal with that pressure?
Well, when I came here, I had dark hair. We're not being asked to deliver something fantastic, and then we're not given the resources. We are given the resources, so we have no excuses not to deliver. And so having said that, it's relative, and I think it's also an attitude question. If you think you can, you can. For me, it was never a question that we will not be successful, that I'm not going to do the very best job I possibly can. And so far, so good. You know, we are delivering the results. Our guests are very happy. The reviews are positive, and you know, my hair would have gotten gray anyway, no matter where I work.
My name is Anish. Could you please share with us the best advice you have been given in your career?
Well, actually 3. I told you the first one already, which was, were you listening? What is it I really want to do, and what is it that I really don't want to do? I recommend that you always only work in 5-star hotels. So no matter how successful you are, be humble about what you have achieved.
Good afternoon. My name is Diane. What are the ups and downs of being in the hotel industry?
The ups and downs are when I'm down when the business is down, and I'm up when the business is up. And I'm not kidding.
What is the hardest part about your job?
Creating the perfect environment for our guests, and creating the perfect environment for my team. I think a better word to use is what's the most challenging. The most challenging is to ensure that every guest that walks through the door leaves happy. But likewise, that all of the 1,600 people that work in this business are really engaged and happy in doing their job.
Hello, Mr. Morio. My name is Hardik, and I would like to ask you, how do you feel to be the general manager of such a great hotel?
Awesome.
Hello sir, my name is Abraham. What type of characteristics or personality do you need to possess to be a general manager?
So, driven personality, you have to be competitive. You have to be somebody who enjoys delivering results, you know, somebody who enjoys to set a goal and then go for it, and then derive pleasure from making it, you know, and if you don't make it, you have to be upset for not making it, and you have to go for it again until you get there. I think that's important when you... but I will also say that competition can be harmful, and you have to use it in such a way that you don't hurt others around you. You know, competition is not always the right thing. It has to be, and I think maybe it has to be positive competition. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Morio. One question I wanted to ask is, like, how did you become who you are, and what were the stages you had to go through to become as successful as you are?
So I had to go through these stages of, you know, doing manual labor, you know, being in front of, dealing with customers is the most important thing. You don't just learn to deal with guests. You have to grow into this process of interacting with guests. It's easy to interact with guests on a positive note. It's not so easy when it's not so positive, you know, when they complain, etc. Next.
Good evening. I'm Kavya, and I wanted to ask you, what is more important to you? Is it making profit, or is it consumer satisfaction?
Depends. And I would actually say to you, some of us in the industry or in other service industries, we say the 3 important things are the 3 Ps. People, product, profit. If you have happy people, they give you a great product, which in turn means you make a good profit, simply put. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
my name is Noor, and what was your 17-year-old self expecting to be here at your current age?
No. Simple answer. When you're 17, There are some rare 17-year-olds, and maybe there's some amongst you. Is anybody 17 here? Already? Anyway, you 17? Do you know already? You see yourself?
Yes.
Already? Fantastic. You got one up on me on this one. I didn't. I knew I wanted to be in this industry for the two reasons that I mentioned. I wanted to travel and see the world, and I wanted to have a job that doesn't keep me behind the desk. When I then did that for 4, 5, 6 years, and I then really have had good work experience, and I liked the business and I enjoyed it, I said, okay, I want to continue to be in this business, and I want to be a general manager of a top-notch hotel. So, but with 17, I didn't know that. I knew that in my early 20s.
My name is Meenakshi. What is your mission statement in life?
In life, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Good evening, sir. My name is Nikita. What I wanted to know, is there any philanthropic activities that Burj Al Arab is involved in?
Yes, we are a leader in the region, actually, in turtle rehabilitation.
Good afternoon. I'm Noor. And what type of leadership style do you use?
Nicole. I think I would describe my leadership style as consultative / democratic, as long as things are going well.
Hello, my name is Noor. How do you keep people motivated?
Pay them a lot of money. Kidding. That's part of it, though. You have to funds set aside. Compensation isn't everything, and it is not. Many surveys will show you, employee surveys will show you that compensation is important, but it's not the most important thing. What's important is, I think, first of all, to let people get on with their job. You know, let people do the work that they were hired to do. And I'm now talking on a management level, because I'm dealing with an executive team of senior managers that are experts in their field, and I have to let them get on with their job, first and foremost. Secondly, I have to recognize them when they do their job well. And you know, thank them for doing their job well. And that is, you know, easier said than done. You oftentimes take the good deeds for granted because you're getting paid for it, type of thing, you know? So that's your job, sort of mentality. But it's important to say thank you to people. And it's probably the most important thing. And then at the same time, you also at times have to be a coach. You have to be able to improve certain behaviors or certain situations in a positive, in a hopefully positive manner, so that you get desired results.
Good afternoon, my name is Omi. I'd like to ask you a question. Would you like to share with us any setbacks you had in your personal or professional career?
Yeah, I saw that question. I really had to think about it. I always told myself, especially during tough times, I will get over it, I'm going to get through that, I'm going to make the best of it. Through the power of positive thinking, I have been able to overcome many difficult situations. It's always up here, guys. You know, everything is relative to yourself and how you deal with tough situations. And tough situations, as you will see in your lives, they come out of left field, unannounced, bam. And you know, you get knocked down, and you get back up, and you keep on going. And
Hi, my name is Jan. What does the term leadership mean to you?
what does the, I wrote that down. First of all, it's again, books have been written about leadership. You know, a lot of people made a lot of money writing a lot of books about that subject. To me, leadership means knowing your business, creating a team that is able to deliver what needs to be delivered, and to create new opportunities. That to me is leadership.
Hi, my name is Reza. Do you consider yourself a successful person?
What do you think? Do I consider myself a successful person? Listen, I think I've done pretty well for myself. I'm happy with where I am in my life. Again, I have a lot to be grateful for. You know, I've been given this fantastic opportunity to be the general manager of the Burj Al Arab. Always depends how you define success, but most important to me, and really much more important than professional success, is my family life, and my kids and my wife, and all of that, my friends around me. That to me is the true success in my life.
Good evening, sir. My name is Susanna. How do you ensure that your vision, strategy, and good objectives reach down to the lowest level?
That was a good question. And I wrote that down. We at the Burj Al Arab, we work with a methodology, we call it the WIGS system. WIGS is an acronym and it stands for Widely Important Goals. And have only 3 or 4 of them, not too many. Because if you have too many, then people start to focus on too many things, and then that's usually when things fall off the wagon, so to speak. So have 3 or 4, no more than 4 objectives for your business. The goals of the business is not just delivered by myself and by my senior management team. It's delivered by 1,600 colleagues who work at the Burj Al Arab. And if everybody knows what is the objective, then we're all sitting on the same bus going in the same direction. Make sense? Rather than sitting on the bus and you're turning around, hey, where are we going? Oh, I don't know. No idea. I'm just sort of here enjoying the ride. No, if everybody knows that that's where the bus is going, that's where we're all going, and everybody can help to work towards that goal. You have to measure what you want to achieve on an ongoing basis throughout the year. And also because measurement is motivation. That I succeeded.
Big clap here.
Still have 3 kilos to go. So you have to measure what you want to achieve. Otherwise, and you have to continuously measure it. Otherwise, you will not get there. And
hello, my name is Sarah, and I'd like to know if you could change one thing about the hotel. What would it be?
the Burj Al Arab was built as a fantastic landmark hotel. But I think what the team that created the hotel didn't quite foresee is that the hotel will be used predominantly as a vacation hotel, as a beach hotel. I think people thought because it's the world's most luxurious hotel and it's so elegant, it will be more used as a sort of a business type hotel for the rich and famous and so forth and so on. And
Sebastian, what do you think is the most important ability a leader should have?
Can you say that again?
What do you think is the most important ability a leader should have?
Listening. One word. You have to be a good listener. That are somewhere else on another planet, or they don't seem to be giving you quite the attention that you deserve. Is that in that situation? Yeah. Well, when somebody speaks to you, you have to completely focus on them and listen to what they have to say. Because if you don't, you only get half of the message. Listening is not just a question of listening with your ears, it's also listening with your eyes. You know, sometimes somebody will say something to you but mean something completely different.
Hello, I'm Simran. I would like to ask you what you know about life is.
I think we had that question earlier. What was the answer? No, not the mission statement. You asked me what my mission statement in life was, right? That's the same question, no? Excuse me. Tell me. What was my mission statement in life?
Treat others how you feel that others have to treat you.
No. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Very.
Hello, Mr. Morio. So you've said earlier now that it's really important to care about your family. So don't you think it's hard to focus on both your work and your family?
So a work-life balance is very important, and you yourself, especially once you go into a more senior position, you're entirely in charge of your time. There's nobody that really tells me when I have to come and when I have to go. And I will say in the evening, okay, now I'm going home. I want to see my wife and my kids, and I want to have dinner with them. Very easy in this business to stay until 10 o'clock in the evening. But I don't. I go home most of the time to spend time with my family. So you have to make a work-life balance is a priority you have to set for yourself. And then you have to also measure it. You have to see, am I really doing what I claim to be practicing?
Good afternoon, Mr. Morio. What innovative initiatives would you like to credit yourself with that would leave the name Henrik Morio as a legend associated with this institution?
That was a heavy question. And first of all, I'd like to say that there's not one thing that I have and only I have done that where I could say, you know, I brought the manna from heaven and this is, you know, solely credit to me. I've been part of a team that has initiated many good things in this hotel. And I think the team in the last 5 years, especially the first 2 years of those 5 years, 2009, 2010, when we sort of were clawing ourselves out of the world economic crisis, we had to take quite a few initiatives that allowed us to maintain the Burj Al Arab is the most luxurious hotel in the world, while at the same time to run a profitable business. Two things. We implemented what we call a labor productivity model in this hotel, the first in the company, if not the first in the Middle East, whereby we established a productivity for every job position, based on which we then measure ourselves on a daily basis. Do we always have the right amount of human resources available to serve our guests? Because there was always a bit of a hit and miss, you know. You had 20 waiters in a restaurant, even though you only had, you know, 10 guests. Clearly something wrong. And every day you would have the same amount of people working, but the amount of guests go up and down. So we had to develop a productivity model that when we forecast only 50 guests, that we only have so many waiters, whereas when we have 100 guests, we have so many waiters. And that was an idea that came up very, very early on, and I would not have been able to implement that idea if I didn't have some terrific brains around me who actually made that idea a reality. You know, a lot of people have a lot of good ideas, but to then put that idea to work, there's a lot of time and effort and space between the idea and the actual result. So how do you actually make a guest feel good? How do you do that? You know, how do you give the feeling to a guest that you are the most important person in my life and I really want you to be happy? How do you do that? You know, how do you tell that to a young person that works in my hotel that the most important job is really to make a guest happy? But how do you make a guest happy? What's involved? It's a very, you know, it's a lot of things, and all of them are intangible, really. So we did a lot of research with human resources and learning and development, and we went to outside sources, and we ended up pulling together different philosophies from, for example, there's a philosophy called the fish philosophy. If you Google it, then you'll get more information about it. There's a book out there, the Book of Secrets.
Yeah. My name is Muhammad. How far can job ethics affect your career?
Job ethics is a very good question. Another word for job ethic is really integrity. And ladies and gentlemen, it is the most valuable thing that you have in your professional and in your private life is integrity. The littlest thing, yet the most important. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Your integrity, and that happens in businesses. Point being is if you lose your integrity, if you do something wrong, sooner or later it will catch up with you. It always does. Sometimes it takes longer than it should, but sooner or later it catches up with you. And then your reputation is on the line. And you lose your reputation only once. Once you've lost it, you'll never get it back. So always remember that. You lose your reputation only once. Once you've lost it, it's gone. It's irretrievable. It will follow you for the rest of your life. You will do something wrong in a business, you will get caught, you lose your job over it. Trust me, it will follow you to your next job and the job after that. Because people talk to each other, especially nowadays in the world of social media, internet, and so forth and so on. So your reputation, your integrity is the most important thing you have. Don't lose it. Don't do the wrong thing. Don't cheat, don't lie, don't misappropriate, etc. You can make mistakes, but that's a mistake you cannot make.
My name is Yara. What do you enjoy most about your job?
People. Very simply. It's, the hotel business is about people, the people that you work with, the people who are your guests.
Can you please give us some advice to take with us on a long and prosperous journey?
Of how that, you know, in life, there's always two choices. And 50% of it is, you don't know if it's the right one, and 50% is the wrong choice, right? But you never know which one is the right one, which one is the wrong one, until you've actually done it. And I think my advice to you is follow your gut. You know? Oftentimes, or actually every time, you have to make a decision. Listen to your inner self, and it will tell you whether the decision is the right one or not. Sure, there's many other factors that you take into consideration, but once you've taken all of these factors and all of that information that you need to make a decision, ultimately your gut will tell you whether or not this is the right decision. So follow your gut, follow your instinct. So you sort of put it into bite-sized pieces. You know what I mean? And then as you get older, your goals tend to become more ambitious. And that's really a key ingredient. If you want to be successful, you have to be ambitious. And so you have to be ambitious to set yourself ambitious goals, and then go after them, and then don't give up.
What was what was the most difficulties in your whole life?
At the time, actually said to me, Henry, there's two types of people. There's those who give tips and those who receive tips. You know what a tip is? You know, when you go to a restaurant and you, with your parents, your father gets the check, it says 500 dirhams on the check, and then he will hopefully put 10%, 50 dirhams for the waiter. That's the tip. You know what TIP stands for? It's an acronym. TIPS. No, TIPS is an acronym. It means to ensure prompt service. And he said to me, there's two types of people. Those who give tips and those who receive tips. And you have to ask yourself the question, do you want to be a tips receiver or a tips giver?
I have another question. What was the biggest fun time in your whole life?
The happiest times in my life are the times when I'm with my family. I just came back from vacation 2 days ago. I spent 4 weeks in the Philippines with my wife, with my son, my daughter. My son is in university in the United States, so I see him twice a year. You know, I love my son very much.
What school?
Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. He's getting a degree in finance and economics. And as I said, you know, he's going in the hotel business. I don't know why. Anyway.
My name is Sandra, and I would like to ask you, do you have a favorite book or a book that really motivates you or that inspires you that you might recommend? Do you have a favorite?
I'm a passionate reader, and if you go to my bedroom right now, which of course you won't, but there's about 50 books next to my nightstand, and I'm actually reading several books at the same time, because I like to vary between books that are purely for pleasure, like a novel or a good, you know, some suspense thriller, and or also like to read books that where you actually learn something. There's one book in terms of learning something, and the title of the book is The Meaning of the 21st Century. Yes?
Thank you very much, Mr. Morio. Let's give him a big clap, please.
Thank you very much. There's one more last question. One last question?
It was really inspiring, Mr. Morio. Really, it was too much, I think, to grasp, but I'm sure they kept talking about Mr. Gerard Lawless for so long, and I think they're going to be talking a lot about your interview.
I don't want to outdo my boss, though.
Yeah. And we would like to present you with just a token of appreciation. This is actually was pieces and was pieced together, so it's a unique things here. Each one a different piece. It was pieced together, and this is. And
thank you very much. Very creative.
And this is actually an appreciation for the Burj Al Arab management team who arranged this, and for yourself, and thank you. I'd like to leave this with us after you leave, so everybody will sign it and say little things about it. Before we leave, when we leave it here with HR, with Nicole. And really enjoy it. And we're actually looking forward. We're having International Young Leaders Congress on February, and would love to have you there and talk to the boys and girls coming from all the Gulf region and from the Arab world. So gathering here in Dubai, and would really love to have you. I will send you the schedule, and it will be a pleasure to have you there.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time, and we really enjoyed it so much.
And likewise.
you.